Wondering if your device supports the Mixed Reality Toolkit? Well, I have great news. The Mixed Reality Toolkit has cross-platform support. So what that means is that you're pretty flexible with regards to which device you could actually use. Now, beyond the HoloLens and the HoloLens 2, you can deploy projects that make use of the Mixed Reality Toolkit to a variety of devices, which include the HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, Oculus Quest, Android and iOS devices, as well as the Leap Motion by Ultraleap.
So, hi everyone, and today for next session we have Jörg Grote and Raphael Derbier. I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing it correct. And they are going to talk about ways to connect enterprise business data in AR. So, Jörg and Raphael, good luck, and the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Yeah, today Raphael is joining me. So we are unmuted, okay. He's joining me for this session, and he's giving a little introduction about what TB205 is and what TB205 Labs is. Raphael, to you.
Yep, next slide, please.
Start with this.
So Jörg and myself are working at the TB205 Labs, so short introduction of who we are and what we are doing. And Jörg will go into details about the different exploration that we have done around mixed reality. So you may have seen the TB205 logo. Maybe if you're interested in F1, you have seen it on the Lewis Hamilton helmet. And so it's easy to understand that it takes a lot of data from many data sources to design the car, build it, run it, improve it, and win. So you probably don't imagine how much data it is. It's really a gazillion of data. But you have to collect the data, make sense of it, visualize it, analyze it, and infer from it. And basically, for two possible outcomes, it's finding a threat. So, for example, something will break, and you have to react to it, and to find opportunities. So maybe you can change a parameter, and you will get some milliseconds, and you can take advantage of this information. So it's exactly what TB205 is doing for large companies in around the world, and in different domains like banking, healthcare, transportation, many other industries, taking the data, make sense of the data, connecting the data to many applications, and taking advantage of it. So inside TB205, the TB205 Labs is the TB205 Innovation Program. So at the labs, with our customers and partners, we are exploring new technologies. So I used to say we are paid to play, so that's a good thing for us. But both with TB205 and non-TB205 technologies. And what we want to do is to see how to create solutions for the next stage of digital businesses. To give you an idea, we are addressing graph database, IoT management and machine learning at the edge, at scale, natural language processing, smart contract with the blockchain, and also discovering business process using process mining. And of course, one of those topics is augmented reality for enterprise. Next slide, please, Jörg.
Yep.
Yeah. So in terms of the augmented reality, our playground, as I said, is enterprise. So we are trying to understand what can make sense for enterprise in the mixed reality innovations. So for the moment, we think that the most interesting is augmented reality, and for three main use cases. The customer experience, so you can put that in marketing, and training, and also productivity and quality enhancements. On my side, I like to say that the augmented adjective that we have in augmented reality can be applied to employee. So it's augmented employee that you can think of if you're using augmented reality. Why is that? It's because you can see invisible information like internal structure, wires in the wall, things that you couldn't see in another way. You have the ability to interact beyond your hand manipulation. So maybe you can control a machine with speech, just with the gaze, with eye movement, even with your body movement. You don't have any space limitation anymore. So even in a small room, you can have as many screens as you need, virtual screens or many source of information. And with the holograms, you can manipulate very large and normally heavy objects with your hands and collaborate with others to design or to study a specific part. So all those new capabilities can impact the productivity, the quality, and the safety. So we really think that the AR is interesting in the enterprise context. So whatever the use case, next slide, please, on Europe. Yes, whatever the use case, you need to understand that you will need to access enterprise data because you have to integrate your AR experience in the existing ecosystem of the enterprise. And I don't know if you have ever visited a factory or an assembly line. Not everything looks like a brand new Amazon warehouse with robots. You know, it's the vast majority of enterprise of companies have a complex mix of very old and new systems. When I say very old in our scope, it's something like 25 years, but it's already very old in terms of protocols and software. And so you can imagine if you really want to have your employees using and taking advantage of AR, they need to interact with those different systems. So that's the whole point of studying enterprise integration. This is our topic with the new innovation from mixed reality and augmented reality. From there, I will let Jörg give you all the details of what we have explored, the different use cases, and also the open source components that we are publishing, because we are doing an effort at TIBCO Labs to promote the usage of AR in enterprise context. So our goal is also to give back to the community our findings and components that you can use on HoloLens or other devices.
Okay, so we explored so far several use cases, but all are connected to TIBCO Cloud Connected Intelligence. And here we start maybe with the data virtualization part, where you can leverage from over 350 data sources and virtualize the data. And this gives you a really high performance to get this data into an augmented reality experience, maybe also an VR experience, and leave the data where it is. Yeah, that's about data virtualization. In the slide, I put also some links we can share afterwards as well. And when we have also real-time messaging, you can think about this use case more about IoT use cases where a little device sensor gives some warning to some inspector or some worker that he's doing his work on the device itself. When we have Nimbus, it's a web tool where you can define documentations. And this is also something that we see also from Microsoft, where you have this instruction guides in an augmented reality way. Yeah, we will show this also later a little bit more in detail. When Spotfire is a rich data visualization platform that you can use on the desktop, but you can even use it in an augmented reality in context in the right area where you currently are, where you're looking at, and things like this. When we have TIBCO Cloud Live Apps, that's basically a case management solution in the cloud where you, in AR, even can start an investigation, do another action, start an action, perform some tasks, add some notes, or take a picture and just store it as an attachment to the case management solution. Also, master data management is very important to have everywhere the same data and make it accessible. That's why we explore also our APIs for EBX to use them in augmented reality. We focus here mainly on HoloLens and Unity for these business use cases, but I will show also some other use cases about WebXR later. A lot of them are just integration use cases. That's where we have this product called Flugo. That's very lightweight integration tool where you can integrate with a lot of backends directly on the fly, creating APIs and so on, all browser-based. And there's also in the same area, there's also Meshery. That's an API gateway that is used by big companies to have developers onboarded to the APIs, maybe a banking API or another API in the gaming sector or whatever. Yeah? So it does all the throttling and handling and on scale. Yeah. So this is where we focus on. We have here some main AR use cases. And we have also VR a little bit explored. Raphael has just received here an Oculus. We explored also on mobile devices, mainly on Android so far, and just HoloLens here for augmented reality. All is connected to TIBCO Cloud because we want to make this information easily accessible in the cloud without any barriers and so on. And we use here also Unity and JavaScript and HTML, CSS, and objects we can use here. So this is the first use case that we started with. I think it's many years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago that we used this. Here you see the little augmented reality that we have here on an Android device, where you see next to an IoT device his sensor data of the temperature, what kind of device it is, and it shows directly close by to this device all the details. And this is using in the back, it's using a little flow that receives the data and gives it back to the device and the augmented reality experience. In Unity, we have also created some UI elements where you put your keys for the API and give the endpoint, and then you can also get the data back and connect it directly to the UI elements inside this visualization. And this is also using Meshery as an API gateway to make it secure and so on. Another thing where real-time is more important is this example. It's also an augmented reality on an Android device. You see these little dots here everywhere. But we receive here messages in real time. On our website, you find also a video. We skipped this for here, but in Unity, you see also log files like this, where we get the messages in the right time and show it directly on an element in the augmented reality. So let's start with another example. It's about AR and computer vision that we created as kind of a POC. More details afterwards. Oh.
Hi, this is a little showcase around computer vision in AR based on Microsoft HoloLens. We explored this idea as part of the TIBCO Labs project Art about augmented reality, AR and IoT use cases and EdgeX, and also our data science team supported us here. The idea is basically to support a person wearing a holographic device with computer vision and deep learning. In this use case, a date gets automatically detected and validated. In case a date is unexpected or overdue, we show a red dot. In case it's expected, we show a green dot. Let's open the application in HoloLens and scan a little area. Scan area. Now the scan area gets sent via MQTT to the deep learning mechanism, and we get a green dot. In another use case, we get a red dot. These use cases are extendable a lot. But let's take a deeper look on the buttons next to this label. The idea of those buttons is made to open an instruction guide based on Nimbus, raise an investigation case based on live apps, show additional statistics based on Spotfire Cloud, or contact a help desk or an expert.
Yeah, maybe some lessons learned about this use case, because it was not so easy as it looks currently. So we worked also a little bit later in the night and it got darker. Yeah. So, and then this image recognition in AR was not really working very well anymore. So at the next day, it was wondering, we were wondering why it's working again. Yeah, but this was just because of the light, and the HoloLens is taking the pictures with the camera, and it's not doing this lighting very good. Then, yeah, maybe you saw it in the video as well. The scan area has a little bit of an offset. You never saw this in HoloLens, but it was a problem of the recording later. Yeah. So that's some lessons learned here. But the full connection here from the HoloLens via the HX and MQTT and all the AI mechanisms that are running in Team Studio of TIBCO machine learning was working very well. Yeah, and we can even deploy new models directly using this HX framework to the tiny devices. Yeah. So another use case, it's a use case about cloud deployment or deploying applications using CIC to the cloud. So this video gives a little bit of an overview.
Never have been provisioning to TIBCO Intelligence Cloud so simple. Just select one app, drag and drop it to your subscription, and refresh the screen that shows 404 before. And the case manager application gets loaded. Done.
So this looked simple. Why is it another screen? Yeah, this looked very simple, but on the other hand, you can imagine if this thing is really working in a little tiny lens in your eye, yeah, and you see additional things around your desk and you have some additional functionalities there to just drag and drop things somewhere and do something in the cloud or deploy something that could be have a huge potential, because you don't need that huge screens or 2 screens or maybe 4 screens. Yeah, you can have a lot of benefits about this. For sure, I think this is not a use case that is really valid for an HoloLens, because no operational guy will wear an HoloLens for operation tasks. Yeah, but I think this will more and more come to us in the future, that you have little tiny virtual things surround you that you can use. Another use case is about instruction guides. So I play this video.
Hi, my name is Jörg Rothe, and I'd like to show you what we are doing from TIBCO Labs with augmented reality and Nimbus instruction guides. Here, for example, we have a QR code placed next to a machine, and if you look on it with HoloLens, you see directly this inspection guide. It's directly loaded from Nimbus Cloud, and you can walk through the different activities. You can place the window next to it a little bit higher if you want. And we have also other QR codes where you can see other Nimbus maps directly loaded into it. So let's see how this is looking in TIBCO Cloud Nimbus. Here in Nimbus, we find all the activities we have seen in the augmented reality. So each activity has a title, text, and notes, but you can think about 3D objects as attachment here as well. But let's switch to the edit mode and add one more activity at the end. For example, we select this icon here, add some text, and then move it to the end. It's automatically connected. And now we put here some customer service next to it as a resource to handle this activity. So maybe make it a little bit more in line with the other activities, and maybe add also some more text here to it as some more infos we have here in the text. So for example, we want to have here a little note at the end and put it here. So save and done, and now switch back to the augmented reality. All our objects are still visible and in place. So let's make this a little bit bigger. and select refresh. So we will see that we have a new activity at the end with the details we entered. Thank you.
So here, so as you can see in Nimbus, we have a lot of potential here as well, because a lot of customers are using Nimbus to do all the process documentation and give in storyboards also to new employees starting with these jobs. And from there, we can just put it with a QR code in the augmented reality and just use it. Okay. So another use case is about case management. We saw this earlier. So here you see the UI of the case designer, where you create a status for new cases. And you can also create actions. There's also a state engine in here where you can move from one state to another. And you can also store all the data inside here. There's a data editor. And all these details we can make visible inside of augmented reality. We had a little bike demo also implemented by Raphael that we used in multiple events already, where there was a bike and when someone was riding on it, we saw some real-time information, and we can also retrieve all the bicycle team members in this case management solution by just calling these APIs from live apps. Very simple. The video is also online on our website here, so if you want to explore it later, quite impressive. Here another use case about Spotfire dashboard in augmented reality. So I play this little thing.
In this video, you will see TIBCO Cloud Spotfire running on HoloLens within a Unity application. For this, we open the web UI of TIBCO Cloud Spotfire within the same scene of the Unity engine. We have here some buttons, but QR codes to open up a dashboard is also feasible. You can even interact with these dashboards. Here we see some line charts, bar charts, and tables. Spotfire themes and Spotfire mods can be used to make dashboards more augmented reality friendly, but as you can see, also the out-of-the-box examples look quite usable. You can also switch the tabs and see some maps and switch with the buttons to maybe a different data set here for Europe. Even the Spotfire library can be used to browse for other templates and analyzes. Here maybe resize the window a little bit to see the fonts a little bit bigger. Now we can select one of these dashboards. Let's select the sales and marketing. This comes with a white background, as you can see. And we have here again some maps and dot charts and also some tables. And again, we can interact with this to drill down and see more details about specific areas. From TIBCO Labs, we worked also on some 3D objects to show data from other data sources like a REST interface. This is what you see here.
Okay. So the 3D objects, by the way, also on the GitHub side, you can use them for free. Yeah. And we have also multiple people also collaborating on them already. Yeah. So I think it's a nice use case also for QR codes that you put somewhere on a device, on a boiler or whatever in manufacturing, and then see the statistics and details about this use case. This video is always starting again. So when we have also explored WebXR, maybe I start here. So also to use all the cloud services that we have in TIBCO Cloud. So here again, Meshery as an API gateway to connect the augmented reality experience directly via this gateway, then have a little service, microservice, that is looking the data in live apps to store the data there about the players using the game. Maybe a little bit about this little implementation. It's using WebXR to measure distances, but it's also using GPS to measure distances. So it's a mixture of both that I used here in this web experience. And the idea is to get points for each distance you can walk, basically. Yeah? You put a marker on the ground and get points for all the distances you walk. Yeah? I have also some fraud detection in here to just say walking is allowed over 20 kilometers speed. It's not accepting any markers anymore and things like this. And then we can also use Spotfire to do all the reporting where the people are playing currently, how much points they have already. You see this all in a little map here in Spotfire. And the great thing is it's using completely WebXR, so it's working just in the browser. You don't have to install any app. It remembers you automatically, the user, and you can just place when you have the link and maybe put this app also on the desktop of your mobile and then just play. Another use case was for an event that we had here at TIBCO. So we put some markers, AR markers, inside of presentations, and everyone who scans them with this application got points, basically. And then we have also here some 3D animations using A-Frame and Free.js. We have also here some overlay and also some 3D objects that are always there. And every time you scan something, you find a marker, you get some points. And then we use a similar backend then for the other use case with a different live apps, with a different microservice and different API keys. It should just work. And then we generate some Spotfire statistics of where the players are, how much points they have, what are the top 5, and so on. And who scanned in which time frame, what markers, when it's even possible. Yeah. And then you could also earn or win great prizes that we had here in this event. So it's some kind of event gamification application. Okay. So, and with this, we can just close. So we have here this QR marker. If you scan it, you get directly to our website on GitHub. You can download all the source of the free assets that we created, and maybe also create a trial account for TIBCO Cloud. We have all the details, and we updating this website regularly. Okay, you can even contact us with the TIBCO Labs email address that you see here. And with this, I can just say thank you to the XR community for having us here. Yeah. And maybe start a QA if someone has questions.
Yeah, so thank you, Jörg and Raphael. I've looked at the stream, but there are no questions at this moment, so I'm not sure if there are people watching currently that can post any questions.
Yeah, but I'm available on Discord as well. If you have questions, just go to our channel of this session and then raise the questions.
So just a comment too, you know, a few years ago, lots of innovation were coming from the military industry back to the enterprise. And I'm very happy to see that lots of innovation now are coming from the gaming industry to the enterprise. So maybe it's a better source of innovation. I don't know, but that's the fact. So saying, even if we see things like games, it's really interesting for the enterprise, for very serious business. And we see the impact on some customers, and we are happy to welcome partners and customers who have ideas, and we're ready to work with them on new things, explore. We don't know things that we will discover together, but that's the interesting part of the journey with those kind of innovations. So feel free to contact us on any ideas for AR applied to enterprise use case.
Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation and taking the time to sharing this with us. And see you soon.
Sure.
Yeah. See you soon.